mist is hanging low. Boots crunch the frost where the grasses grow. Rifle slung in a heart that's steady. The wild calls out and I'm already ready.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Inside Spread Podcast. My name is Kenny. I am your host. We are going to talk about hunting, conservation, and stuff that actually matters to you. If you've spent any time online in hunting circles, you've heard the line that hunters pay for conservation. And you know what? Hunters do carry a huge share of that load. And today we want to lean into that and about kind of like what we are doing right, and then also connect that to what's going on with our public lands today. We're going to walk through how hunters have built and still power the North American model of conservation, the real dollars that we put on the table, like licenses, tags, and gear, and how it gives us a voice when it comes to public lands, and especially when wildlife and those public lands are under threat. We'll mention kind of a few other folks that contribute to, like hiker shooters and general taxpayers, but the focus really today is on what hunters are doing well and how we can keep leading from the front. But before we jump into all that, I just have a few ways that you can support the Inside Spread and connect with us. First, we have partnered with Academy Sports, with King's Camo and Raven Crossbows, and when you shop through our affiliate links with them, which will be in the show notes, we earn just a small commission at no extra cost to you. It's a simple way to support the podcast while getting quality gear for your next hunt. Second, if you can join our community at the Inside Spread Podcast, it's great. We've built an online platform there for you to read articles, get tips, tricks, and tactics about all things that are going on in the hunting, shooting, conservation, and fishing world. In addition to that, we are building kind of an social media platform that will be coming soon. Third, you can just follow us on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and anywhere else that you get your social media, we are likely there. And finally, if you are enjoying the show, please just leave us a quick review on Spotify, Amazon Music, send us a comment on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, because the more that you share and comment, the more that we get out to other hunters. Alrighty, let's talk about how hunters really fund conservation and why that matters. All right, let's start with this. Hunters didn't just help with conservation. We helped build the system. When you look at the North American model of wildlife conservation, hunters are woven into it everywhere. We pushed for season and bag limits. We backed laws that tax our guns and our ammo to fund habitat. We've kept state agencies alive through license and tag sales. So when someone says hunters pay for conservation, they're pointing to something that is real. Those license dollars, those excise taxes, the membership dues, and the banquets and the raffles that conservation groups do, they are the foundational steps to continuing our conservation now and in the future. If you were to pull those hunters across our country out of that equation, the whole thing looks very different. And the cool part is most of us aren't doing it for credit. We're doing it because we want healthy populations, wild places, and a future where our kids and grandkids can hunt. So let's just break down a few big ways that hunters are actively funding conservation today. Number one, and you've probably heard about this plenty of times, but it's the Pittman-Robertson Act. Back in 1937, hunters and shooters backed the Pittman-Robertson Act, which put excise tax on all firearms, ammunition, and some archery equipment. We literally said, tax our gear and put that money into wildlife. Those dollars go into a federal pot and get sent back to the states for habitat restoration, research, hunter education, and shooting ranges and access projects. Yes, non-hunters help fill that pot too, and that's great. But the hunters were the ones who pushed for it and have supported it for almost 90 years. Every time that you buy a rifle, a shotgun, a box of ammo, a bow, you are quietly writing a check to wildlife. Number two, license and tags. It's the backbone of state agencies. When you get your license or your tags, you're not just getting a deer or an elk tag or a turkey tag, but you're funding wildlife conservation through the state wildlife agencies. You help with getting biologists and game wardens hired, uh, getting population surveys and research done, habitat work and access programs. In a lot of states, hunters are the single biggest dedicated funding source to those agencies. If hunters were to walk away tomorrow, most of those departments would have to close or be extremely gutted. That's not just necessarily just boost our ego, but it's just kind of the reality of how budgets are built. All right. On top, number three thing that we are doing well is conservation groups and local projects. On top of all the formal funding, hunters are consistently buying banquet tickets, donating to raffles, volunteering for habitat days, supporting groups like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Ducks Unlimited, the National Wild Turkey Foundation Federation, Backcountry's Hunters and Anglers, and many more. They are full of hunters that are putting in the time and the money to protect the habitat and access. So when we talk about what hunters are doing right, this is it. We tax ourselves. We buy licenses and tags. We show up with our wallet and our work clothes. And that is leadership. Now, of course, we don't live in a vacuum. There are other contributors. Recreational shooters who don't hunt still pay the excise tax. Hunters and campers and bird watchers who support open space bonds and general tax funding. General taxpayers who fund the federal land management agencies. Those are all good things. And we want more people to be invested in wildlife and wild places. But here's the key point. Hunters are still one of the only groups consistently putting dedicated user-based money into wildlife conservation and game management year after year. We're not the whole story, but we are the engine, and that gives us both the responsibility and the voice. So what does this all have to do with public lands? It's simple. If hunters are paying the bills, we've earned a seat at the table when our decisions are made about the lands and the wildlife we're funding. And right now, there are some real threats happening to public lands. I'm going to highlight just three quick pieces that are probably worth your time. I'll keep it pretty high level so that you can go check out those articles and read about it later. But the number one threat right now is the plan to rescind the BLM public lands rule. The BLM public lands rule was designed to put conservation and recreation on an equal footing with grazing, drilling, and mining across the 245 million acres of public land. However, they're trying to make a change, and they would like to rescind that recreation and conservation public lands rule, and that is going to cause some major issues. It would weaken the conservation that's happening on BLM lands, and we should really care about those things because we have helped create conservation plans and management plans for those areas. We've helped with habitat and access, which should matter more than a quick short-term extraction. And in the end, I believe that our dollars and our time gives us a legitimate voice here. Threat number two, logging and the roadless protections. Another front in our national forests and our roadless areas, there's the roadless rule, which helps protect big chunks of undeveloped forest from logging and road building, which is actually the kind of country that elk and deer love. There's a plan to rescind the roadless rule, which is kind of the last shield against logging threats. We want those areas to stay intact. Those forests are a beautiful place for us to recreate, to hunt, to fish. It matters significantly for wildlife and watersheds. Logging and other road building can chip away at that pretty quickly. And we would like those areas to remain wild so that we can enjoy them the way that we have chosen. Number three, they are working on revoking limits on drilling in Alaska. Expanding drilling in Alaska is kind of a non-starter. Alaska is the last frontier. Administration has decided to revoke some binary limits on drilling in Alaska. It will really benefit the oil and drilling industry. It will benefit a lot of foreign interests in the land, and it can be very devastating to wildlife habitat and public access. It specifically there's a lot of land there that will be broken up and crossed by roads that will cause habitat issues for things like caribou and native fish. So what do we do with all this as hunters? Here is a few concrete ways that we can continue to lead from the front. Number one, own the fact that you are a conservationist and back it up. And when you talk about hunting, don't be shy about saying hunters fund a huge chunk of wildlife conservation through licenses, tags, excise tax, and we want healthy habitat and public lands for the long haul. We're not bragging about all these things. We're just telling the truth about what things are going right now. Number two is keep supporting groups that do real work. If you are already a member of groups like RMEF, DU, NWTF, BHA, you are a part of the solution. If you're not, consider joining a group that aligns with how you hunt, how you fish, how you use the outdoors, and give your time and your money to those organizations. Look for places that do habitat projects, that work for access easements, that they do on the ground work where you actually hunt. And that's where your dollars and volunteer time goes the farthest. Number three, use your voice when public lands are on the line. When you see that the public lands rule is being rescinded, or that the roadless protections are going away, or that there's more threats of drilling in Alaska, don't just think that sucks and scroll on. Take 5 minutes, read the article, click through any actions or comments, reach out to your representatives and say, hey, I hunt, I buy license and tags, I support strong habitat and balance management on public lands, and that will carry weight with your representatives. Number four, be kind to hunter. Be the kind of hunter that people want to stand with. The more ways that we show up as ethical in the field, respectful online, and thoughtful about habitat and wildlife, the more respect that we will continue to gain from non-hunters and even from anti-hunters if we are showing them the positive benefit side. We might not change everybody's mind, but they can see that we are respectful, hardworking, and we care about the wildlife and the habitat. And that doesn't mean that we will ever agree on everything, but we do want people like them on our side when it comes time to defend that access and habitat. Well, today, that's all we're covering. Get out there, do your work for conservation. And right now in this late November, it's probably hunting. Hunting is a great conservation tool. We've pushed for this. We've pushed for the laws that fund this wildlife work, and this is the opportunity for you to harvest. So get out there, harvest that animal, whatever it is, deer, elk, whatever else is on your season bucket list, go ahead and get that done. Keep buying those license tags, guns, and ammos, and putting money back into our system. And then when the season's over, continue to show up for banquets, work days, habitat projects. Yes, we're not going to be perfect at all this, but we want to be the most consistent, dedicated funding engine to the wildlife conservation in North America. And in the end, like I said, that gives us both a strong responsibility, but it also gives us a voice when it comes to public lands. So I'll be linking my article and a couple other articles that I used for this podcast today in the show notes. So go ahead and check those out. And yeah, like I said, keep getting out there, keep using our public lands. I know I have, and I hope that you continue as well. And if you think that this podcast was worth your time today, feel free to share with a buddy. Remember to like, comment, pass it on wherever you can. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining the Inside the Park podcast today, and we'll see you next time.
Echoes of the woods, where the heartbeats meet. Freedom runs wild under nature's dome. Down by the pine, it feels like home. Crisp wind whispers through the autumn gold. Stories of the land, both new and old. Tracks in the dirt, the trail calls my name. Out here in the wild, it's all just the same. Down by the pine,